I got some disappointing teams that unfortunately we have to call out. I get accused of being positive all the time, so let's just drop a heavy, heaping helping of negativity on everyone's head. Auburn, what has happened to you? You are 2-4, and yet I'm looking at our power ratings over here, and the model still has Auburn as a top 40 team. Why is that? Well, because it understands that it's been a turnover problem, and elsewhere Auburn is not a bad team. If you could ever tell me the week that's going to arrive where they don't really turn the ball over, it'd be okay. But they've turned it over all year. They had 4 interceptions against Cal and lost. They had 4 picks against Arkansas and lost. They were playing clean against Oklahoma and winning. Then they threw a pick 6 and lost. They've given it away 15 times this year. That's good for 132nd in the country. We didn't even have 132 FBS teams until recently. So I'm disappointed. But I'm not giving up. This team can upset some people in the back stretch. All they have to do is possess the football. It's so easy and so complicated. I'm upset with USC a little bit, but this is a different one. Because USC, they're being viewed through a post-LSU lens. So people had some doubt about them. Then they beat LSU, and then it was perceived that they were just off to the races, kicked the snowball down the hill, yada, yada, yada. And so I'm kind of conflicted because they haven't been bad. They lost at Michigan very close, questionable decision-making. I'm speaking for the USC fan base now. And they lost to Minnesota. Again, questionable decision-making. Again, I'm speaking for the USC fan base. So they haven't been terrible. I think there's a lot to be proud of. So on one hand, I'm a little pleasantly surprised still in USC. But if you start the season after LSU, if you reset expectations, recalibrate them post-LSU, it's mildly disappointing, especially that they lost that Minnesota game. That they couldn't score more than 17 at Minnesota, that's disappointing. FSU, I don't know what more needs to be said here. This is the poster child program for the highs and lows that any major program can experience in the new era of college football if you lean disproportionately on the portal. I mean, to think about how excited we were about the O-line, D-line here, and their 133rd rushing offense, their 109th rush defense, they're 126th in third down conversions, they're 128th in points per game, they're 103rd in sacks allowed, just a complete no-show of a team this year. And that's about as disappointing as it gets. Kansas, very disappointing. Kansas has lost 5 straight games. They beat Lindenwood, whomst amongst us hasn't, and then they fell off a cliff, and Jalen Daniels has not been good. Another classic case of just because a guy returns doesn't mean he improves. They're 104th in passing offense right now. Daniels, 8 picks, 7 passing touchdowns, 54% completion. Like these aren't numbers that you thought you'd attach to him. He lost his coordinator to Penn State. Even I didn't expect it to fall off this much. And they haven't really done anything with him on the ground either. He's like a 3.4 yards per carry guy. You know what this feels like? It feels like what happened with Iowa State a little bit, in that the entire staff there and Leipold leading the program, you start to think, oh, look, he's building, and they keep up trajectory. It's Kansas. It's not Georgia. So you cannot sustain there, just like Iowa State could not sustain at that 7 or 8 win level because history says you have no business doing that. History says at Kansas, you have no business doing that. So they've fallen off a little bit. They went from 2 wins to 6 wins to 9 wins, and now they're 1-5. So 3-year progression, fall off. It's not the craziest thing in the world, but it is disappointing to see. Oklahoma State, dead on arrival. We got the Doak Walker winner last year. Best tailback in the country, most experienced offensive line in the country returning. They are 122nd in rush yards per game right now, and they allowed 389 on the ground to West Virginia last week. West Virginia ran for 162 more than Oklahoma State had running and passing. Just total no-show of a team. Lost 38-14 last week. They got boat raced by Kansas State. They got beat by Utah's backup quarterback. They should have lost to Arkansas, but we don't believe in that word because if you should have lost, you would have lost, as Meemaw always said. But Oklahoma State's been a huge disappointment. And then NC State, again, kind of dead on arrival. We did expect a slight defensive downturn with them. Points per game, just listen to this. You tell me where it went wrong. Points per game, 2021, 14th allowed, points per game allowed. 2021, 14th. 2022, 11th. All right, knocking on the door of the top 10. 2023, 25th. Still not terrible. 2024, 120th. Did you hear what happened there? Was there one of those that didn't sound like the other? They've played Tennessee and Clemson already this year. Combined loss, 110-45. I have disappointment, and you people are going to hear about it. That's a shame.